never swim toward the back of a boat. Two guys were driving a boat for the first time, but their skills were terrible. While trying to dock, they crashed into the pier. One guy at the back was thrown into the sea. Even worse, the person on the boat panicked. He did not shut off the engine right away. Instead, he shouted for him to swim back. That caused a disaster. The man's leg hit the propeller. The seawater instantly turned red.
Get that motor shut off!
Luckily, a firefighter couple on vacation nearby saw everything and rushed to help. One firefighter pulled hard from shore to reposition the boat, but the man's friend kept making things worse. He kept yelling for him to swim closer. The firefighter in the water held him tightly, afraid he would hit the propeller again. After moving the boat into position, she rushed to the control room and shut off the engine. But when she reached the back of the boat, both people were gone. Only the bloody seawater was still moving. Still, she believed he would save him. Sure enough, two figures soon surfaced. They quickly pulled the injured man onto the boat together. His thigh had been shredded by the propeller. The wound was almost down to the bone. She immediately took off her jacket and made a tourniquet to stop the bleeding. She tied it tightly above the wound to slow the blood loss. Now, they just had to wait for rescue. Only then did they relax. How does even a vacation end up turning into a rescue operation? Firefighters were rescuing people inside an elevator shaft. Suddenly, the freight elevator started moving down by itself. The teammates above shouted warnings and rushed to cut the power. The firefighter inside tried using a pry bar to jam the elevator. The metal scraped sparks everywhere, but the elevator kept coming down. If it did not stop, they would soon be crushed into meat paste. Luckily, teammates above used wooden poles to hold the elevator for a moment. Good news also came from the control room. The elevator power had been cut. But terrifyingly, the elevator still did not stop. The real problem was an electrical failure, and the wooden poles finally snapped. Were they really about to watch them get crushed alive? Of course, the firefighters would not give up. One firefighter grabbed a metal trash can nearby and shoved it into the gap to slow the elevator down. At the critical moment, another firefighter rushed over with hydraulic cutters. He wedged the tool into the final gap. The hydraulic force slowly pushed the elevator up. By now, the elevator was almost at the bottom. The space below kept getting smaller. They could only lie flat to survive. Thankfully, the hydraulic tool was strong enough. The elevator finally stopped. No one dared waste time. They quickly placed supports into the gap before prying open the floor to rescue them.
Casey! You okay down there, Casey?
A little cramped, actually.
Hearing their brother below was still safe, the firefighters above finally let out a sigh of relief. What a heart-stopping rescue. Firefighters were about to connect water to fight a fire, but found the fire hydrant had been stolen. Even worse, there were still people trapped inside the burning car. The crashed car was badly crushed. Without putting out the fire, rescue was impossible.
Did you make that hydrant yet?
It's not there. There's no hydrant.
We only got 500 gallons in the tank.
How much time does that give us?
2 or 3 minutes, tops. All right, 51! Let's go, lead out! Estevez, hook up to the hydrant!
With no other choice, firefighters dragged heavy hoses to a hydrant farther away. Although they finally put out the fire, the delay cost the best rescue time. The person inside was burned alive. Stealing fire hydrants is no different from killing people. The firefighters swore to catch the thieves. They checked surveillance footage and saw how the thieves worked. The two thieves covered their faces tightly. Even the license plate was hidden. They were clearly experienced criminals, but that did not stop the firefighters. If they could not find the thieves, they could find the buyers. The thieves stole hydrants just to sell them for money. So firefighters went to recycling stations to investigate. They told the recycling yard owner they were there to investigate the stolen fire hydrants. The owner claimed he was a law-abiding citizen and would never do illegal business. But firefighters knew people in this industry would recycle almost anything. Since he refused to admit it, they had another plan.
What if we go undercover?
Pretending to be scrap thieves, you and me. I drive a minivan with a bumper sticker that says Soccer Dad, and you scream Girl Scout, so you gotta find a way to come at them from the side.
They secretly placed a GPS tracker inside a roadside hydrant and waited for the bait to work. Sure enough, only a few days later, the hydrant was stolen again. Using the GPS signal, firefighters returned to the recycling station. But this time, they brought the police. Inside, they found many stolen fire hydrants. Even after getting caught red-handed, the owner still argued. He claimed every hydrant had official scrap documents. In response, the firefighter pulled the GPS out of one hydrant. The owner froze on the spot. Forging official documents and selling stolen hydrants are both federal crimes. Enough to keep him in prison for the rest of his life. He deserved to get caught. After all, who would expect a GPS inside a hydrant?
Are you kidding me? Oh, come on, man.
A forklift driver accidentally pierced a plastic tank full of sulfuric acid. The next second, thick smoke poured out. His face turned red, he staggered, then passed out. A nearby worker was even worse. He screamed in pain, fell to the ground, and stopped moving. It looked like he could not be saved, but the driver only inhaled gas. He might still be saved. A firefighter risked his life, pulled him off the forklift, dragged him into a break room. At the same time, he told the manager to call the police.
Dad? Wait, what happened?
In an accident, your dad inhaled some fumes. We gotta block that off or we're dead.
He told the girl to roll cloth and block the door gap to stop the smoke from coming in. He got a basin of soapy water. He wiped the man's face and gave rescue breaths. Finally, he saved him. They tried to call 911, but there was no signal at all. They waited for 1 hour, but no help came. The manager who went to call had already collapsed.
What's wrong?
I was checking to see how things were out there.
I know what it looks like when grown-ups lie.
Looks like Gary tried to go back to his office before he went outside.
Why would he do that?
Probably to get rid of the records of what he was up to here. The point is, the fumes got him. He never called 911.
Nobody's coming.
Nope.
Worse, smoke started coming in through the door gap. They lifted the man onto a table, found baking soda, and poured it at the door gap, trying to neutralize the acid. Then the man woke up. He said there was a landline in the office. The phone was on the other side of the vent. The firefighter unscrewed it with a fruit knife and kicked it open. But the hole was too small for him, so he asked the girl to try. But as soon as the girl stuck her upper body in, she got stuck and started coughing. The firefighter quickly pulled her back. He used his phone to check the office. It was already full of toxic gas, so that effort was useless. They had to seal the hole. Luckily, the girl found green tape. They quickly sealed it. He climbed onto the table again. Outside, the acid was moving toward aluminum wires. If they touched, it would explode.
You gotta get out of here.
He removed a chair leg and started breaking the wall. After effort, he pulled out a plastic pipe, but the tape on the hole was pushed open by smoke. They had to seal it again. Even a little smoke got in. The man almost could not breathe. The firefighter used the girl's shirt and baking soda to make a simple mask for the man. Then he kept breaking the wall. The girl saw something scary. The acid had reached the aluminum wires and sparked. The firefighter became more urgent. Using his experience, he sprayed a fire extinguisher to cool the wall, then smashed it hard. Finally, he made a hole big enough to see outside, but it was still too small. He got stuck. The man could not hold on anymore and collapsed. The firefighter told the girl to go out first, find help as fast as possible. But seeing the sparks outside, she was scared.
Nobody else is dying today. Not if you do what I'm asking.
The girl managed to crawl out. Even though she was afraid, she ran out bravely to save her father. The firefighter gave the man a simple airway tube to keep him alive a bit longer. Suddenly, a shockwave blew away the cloth at the door. Was this the end? The girl called 911 right away. Firefighters arrived quickly. The captain learned the situation and made a rescue plan. Inside, flames were rising fast. They had to cut off the power. Firefighters forced a shutdown.
Pulling! Pulling!
Power should be off!
Negative! It's still hot! We're getting pinned down in here!
But the power was not fully cut. They were almost all wiped out. Finally, they tied a rope to the main line and pulled it hard to break it. Now, the power was completely off. They smashed a big hole in the wall. Everyone inside was rescued. Another intense but safe day.